Every 10 years for the first 100 years of the game, I'm going to delete the #1 great power of the entire world, starting off with the Great Ming of China. Every nation will additionally get a free colonist and some buffs to colonization speed, but nothing super overpowered. That way we can see the rebuilding of the newly voided provinces. With many of the major nations like the Ming, Ottomans, and many more gone, the future of the world will likely look quite different from what we've come to expect in the vanilla 1444 start, and I'm excited to see how it goes. If you're excited as well, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more to come. Also, patrons get early access to every video on this channel, so consider supporting, link in the description. So here we are, a mod that I made literally 20 minutes ago with a couple of my buddies from my Discord, which you should join if you haven't already because we have a lot of fun over there on the Discord. Every 10 years for the next 100 years, you will receive an event that will delete the #1 great power in the world, and to compensate, every nation has been given one base colonist as well as some colonial speed buffs. In order to make the mod work, you need to do a couple of things. I'm going to do them, but if you want to check out the mod, it's going to be linked in the description for you to download and play it for yourself. Either way, down with the Ming. And just like that, the Ming is gone, reduced to atoms. Thanos snapped out of existence, and we'll see who fills in the gaps over here. But obviously, Ming is not going to be the last one to disappear. But as you guys know, there's only one way to find out what happens in this timeline: Speed 5 Unpause. Hey, that's pretty cool. We got a Sapmi that popped out of Novgorod over here. I don't really know why. I don't think anything really happened to them. Oh, just kidding. They lost a bunch of their land to Muscovy. So yeah, Sapmi's here. And before we get too far in, I do want to know, who do you guys think will be the #1 great power when it's all said and done? Like I said, 100 years every 10 years. So 10 rounds of people getting deleted is going to happen. After that, it's going to be anybody's game. But before we get into this spicy scenario, I'm going to have to give a big shout out to Enlisted for sponsoring your boy. If you do not know about Enlisted, it is a World War II MMO with a strong focus on historical authenticity while still keeping the gameplay dynamic and exciting. The game is available for PC, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and previous gen consoles, all with cross-platform support so you can play with your friends who can't afford the new RTX 4090 and an 8K ultra-wide monitor. The game requires no purchase to install, so the barrier to entry is as low as it gets, unlike some companies we know, not saying any names. All you need to do is click the link below in the description or the pinned comment and play for free. The game has a massive scale with tons of variations of soldiers, both light and heavy vehicles, as well as planes. The variety of weapons available is wild, with hundreds of different firearms and specialist tools ranging from those used commonly in the war to experimental prototypes that never really saw mass production. It features iconic battles of the war like the Russian defense in the Battle of Moscow, the D-Day landings in Normandy, and more to come as game development progresses, all with unique weapons and vehicles for you to unlock. Now, the thing that sets this title apart from others, and what I consider the most interesting, is the squads mode, in which you control an entire squad of soldiers, each with their own customized name, skills, and kit. You can control each squad mate individually with a press of a button, giving you ultimate control over many different situations you will encounter in a battle. Few things look cooler than running around with an iconic MP40 or picking up your trusty Mosin to defend the motherland with your comrades. And when you register for Enlisted using my link in the description, you will get 3 days of premium time and several orders for troops and weapons entirely for free, and you guys know how much I love free. Support companies who support content you love. Check out Enlisted, give it a try. And now that 10 years has passed, it appears that France is no more. France is kaput. And now all of their former subjects are now independent and can colonize up the lands and fill the void for themselves. And next up on the chopping block could be the Ottomans, Poland, or the Mams. So we'll see. Meanwhile, over in China, we have Canton and Macau getting taken over by Brunei here. And it does appear that we have some Koreans over here in Soju and Hongju. So yeah, it's going to fill in slowly but surely. I think a lot of these guys have like no money, so they don't want to colonize, so that might be an issue. Basically, nations will just win more as the nations around them die, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. Oh, and by the way, the mandate died with Ming. There is no mandate anymore, so whoever takes over this land, it's free reign. So whenever they're talking about people being colonizers, you know, like white colonizers from Europe, I don't think they were talking about the Spanish and the Portuguese in France, but, you know, that is a thing. We've actually got some Aragonese as well, and even the Pope man getting in on it. So people generally are going to be colonizing things right next to them, but there's going to be some stuff jumping around, kind of like Venice over here in Nice. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Uh-oh, looks like Ottomans have been passed, and Poland is actually sacrificing themselves at the altar of Kill GP. So we'll see. Unless the Ottomans do some development or take over some land in the next 3 or 4 years, Poland is going to be the one to take their place. And right as I say it, the Ottomans somehow gained a bunch of development and became the #1 great power. So it looks like the Ottomans are going to go probably Poland next time, but we'll see. We do have the Timurids who have grown into the great powers list, and Denmark is up here, but I think they are in 1444. So we'll see how things go with that. I do see Denmark over here in northern France, as well as Lubeck. So there's a couple of boys over here. And ironically, Castile, who was actually power colonizing over here in France, took over enough development to off themselves. So down with Castile, I suppose. And meanwhile, over in China, we have borders filling in Ayutthaya, Vietnam, Brunei still filling out the southern parts of China, and Korea continues to fill in the parts over here on the Yangtze Delta. So, you know, things are filling in slowly but surely. All right, so this one is really good. The AI is actually so good in EU4 that the Ottomans specifically, purposely did not embrace the Renaissance. That way, Poland would be the one destroyed this time around, leaving themselves as the major power in the area. We have the Ottomans and the Mamluks, and how much do you want to bet that the Mamluks will somehow magically embrace the Renaissance before the Ottomans, and we'll be left with the Ottomans for another 10 years? I'm leaning towards saying that the Ottomans are going to get out, but we'll see. I mean, they've been able to avoid it this far, so I think we have 7 or 8 more rounds left, so we'll see. Ottomans are almost certainly going to get destroyed eventually, but sooner better than later, in my opinion, but, you know, that's just me. So we've got Ottomans down here in Granada and lads from Florence over here in the south as well. Lubeck and Brabant are both in the northern portions of Iberia. And Corunna over here is Holland, apparently. I definitely think we're going to see some nations like island hopping and whatever to get over into the New World. And we'll see a lot of colonization going on, especially with the base colonist available. Yeah, like Holland is actually currently colonizing the Canary Islands. So we're going to see some weird colonial stuff. And the borders of China continue to clean up. And it actually looks like Ayutthaya has hopped up into Yangzhou over there on the east coast. So that's the thing. Meanwhile, Lanzhang is moving north, so they're colonizing a couple of these provinces here and there, so things are filling in. Over on the west coast of Africa, you can definitely see that Jolof is doing a bit of colonizing in Sierra Leone, and the Congo is getting over here in Benguela, so there is colonization going on in Africa as well. And it does appear that in 1484, it is time to remove baklava. Ottomans are getting kicked out, but I was taking a look over here at the great powers. You got Bohemia, the Mamluks, Aragon, and Muscovy. But if we take a look over here, it looks like Muscovy's probably about to jump up quite a bit in development. So after the Ottomans, it's honestly anybody's game. I don't think Bohemia is going to get deleted, at least this time around. I think that the Mamluks will eventually embrace the Renaissance. They'll get deleted. And I think Muscovy is probably going to go as well. So it's probably going to be at least Bohemia, Mamluks, and Muscovy. And then we'll see from there. There's still a few rounds left, so I really don't know. And yep, the Mamluks embraced Renaissance, and they are now kaput as well. But I also think it's worth mentioning that if Muscovy were to embrace Renaissance, they would immediately be the number one. By a decent amount as well, 50 development above Bohemia. But Portugal is colonizing quite quickly, as well as Aragon. So we'll see. We're probably going to see Portugal get deleted as well, which is kind of a bummer when you think about it, because they've done a ton of colonization in these areas, but all of it is going to be going to waste essentially. And this would explain how Bohemia became such a high, great power. They actually have a personal union on Burgundy. They got the Burgundian inheritance. Meanwhile, Iberia and France fill in. It's hilarious that we see a Bohemian Orleans over there. But yeah, they are filling in. Papal France is a good one, but Burgundy is really beefy now that they've integrated their subjects. And if Bohemia gets deleted, Burgundy is going to get a very solid jumping board to have a good game for themselves, assuming they can avoid getting deleted before the 1550 mark. And China looking a bit more of the same, though it looks like Dai Viet took some land from Brunei. The rest is Korea, Ayutthaya, and now we have Ashikaga in the Shandong region. So that's a thing. And in Africa, Jolof is working its way along the coast, probably going to cut off most of the Europeans from the coast. But Portugal is already down over here in Cape Verde, as well as over here on this, whatever this province is called, Arguim. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And it appears that is Bohemia's time to go. They actually had a decent bit of growth over here. Somehow we have a France. I think Orleans formed France because, you know, France is inevitable. But Bohemia took some land over here. They even took a ton of land over here from Hungary. And, yeah, they're dead now. So goodbye. That leaves us with a very, very generous front runner of Muscovy. So Muscovy is almost guaranteed to fall. And then Portugal, QQ actually managed to make their way all the way up to the 3rd spot, and then England. We have 4 more rounds of deletions, so it's probably going to be something like this, but though Burgundy, Lithuania, there's some colonization that can be going on, so it's really anybody's game. I think Denmark is probably safe. Maybe Lithuania, but we'll see. And also, it's 1505. The Reformation spawned. We've got one in Oxford, we have one in Munster, and then we have one in Copenhagen. So literally not that much going on in Germany, mostly in Scandinavia and in the British Isles. Now, I can't believe this, but Muscovy managed to dodge it again by not having embraced colonialism. So both England and Portugal are both competitive with them. So Muscovy lives to see another day. Portugal does not. Things are getting a little interesting. We've got at least 3 more rounds here, and Muscovy cannot keep getting away with this. I think Muscovy, and then England, and then probably Aragon. Aragon will get it pretty soon. I'd love to see Burgundy stay around, though, because I'd love to see them form Lotharingia. And hilariously, we do have a Portuguese colonial nation that exists over here in the Caribbean, independent. We also have a Newfoundland over here in Canada, formed by England. Some of the African tags are doing pretty good. Jolof has cut off most of the coast, Congo eating up a very large portion of Central Africa, and Kilwa getting all of Madagascar and making their way down into Southern Africa. The usual Indian blobs are Indian blobbing, Bahmanis and Bengal, fighting for power over on the east, with Delhi, Jaunpur, and Gujarat, with a little bit of Malwa up there in the north. China is getting wrapped up here on the coast. We've got Japanese, Ayutthhayan, Korean, Bruneian, and then Vietnamese. And it looks like Vietnam is actually trying to cut off Lanzhang. So that's pretty funny. I don't know who's going to get the majority of the development in there, but things are filling in slowly but surely. Hey, can you guys rate my Albania? What do you guys think about green Albania that's actually Luca? Because I think I really like it. And to be honest with you, the rest of the Balkans and Anatolia is an absolute mess. We've got Papal, Genoese, we have Austrian, we have Savoyard, Venetians. There's a bunch of people over here. AQ is having a really good game. Pope Man is in Syria. We have Aragon taking over some land over here, but everybody's getting a little bit. Tunis, we've got Florence. Naples has taken over a decent amount of the development here in northern Egypt. And people like Ajam and Sind and these guys, they're just kind of racing across Arabia. So that is a thing. And yep, I'm heartbroken. Burgundy gets taken out because they embraced institution. Muscovy doing what Ottomans did earlier and avoiding embracing institution, though to be fair, I don't think they're going to get colonialism for a while. So Burgundy, goodbye, my friend. Yeah, colonialism is going to take a bit to get over there. Muscovy's going to probably have to go this next time, though. I can't imagine them being able to avoid it. I think there's 2 more rounds, so probably Muscovy and then either England or Aragon, though I don't know. It's hard to say. I literally cannot make this up. England will go before Muscovy, leaving behind their colonial empire. But there is no possible way that Muscovy can dodge this, right? Like, look how big they are. They have the biggest name in the world, which means they're the #1 great power, right? I think that's how it works. But yeah, now we have an independent Canada and an independent Haiti, the Grand Republic of Haiti, actually. So yeah, we've got some interesting stuff to look forward to here. Now, I will say this. If Aragon continues to colonize, they may be able to let Muscovy live. I would crap my pants if Muscovy survives this. Meanwhile, my beloved Isle of Man was independent. I don't know how they managed, but they were independent. And now they get free reign over here, assuming they can actually afford, to colonize, because it does cost money. Things continue to fill in France with Papal France definitely growing, but regular France is actually very big considering the fact that they were deleted before. Austria, Hungary are definitely filling in, but Lithuania is looking better as time goes on. Same thing with China. China fills in over time. Daviet, Brunei, Korea, Ayutthaya, and Japan, the major guys in the area. Also, tricolor Taiwan is kind of cool. I think it looks nice. It looks like a revolutionary flag, complete with the ugly colors that you get in this game. Meanwhile, Kilwa absolutely filling up over here. Mutapa, a 1-province minor over here. I don't know how that happened, but that's a thing. And also, Congo took a couple of provinces. Don't know how that happened either, but yeah, that's a thing. And this time, they could not get away with it. Muscovy very narrowly dodging it. I believe if Aragon just got like an extra 50 development, they would have gone instead of Muscovy. So Muscovy is now gone. Muscovy is kaput. And now we need to wait and let the world rebuild. And this is the kind of trash that we get to look forward to for a while. We've got Papal Wales. We have Neapolitan Ireland. Yeah, this is going to be a mess, but things will eventually clean up over time. And here it is, the Lithuanian-Polish Commonwealth. A lot of people don't know about this. This was actually introduced in 1.34 with Lions of the North. Now, if the Commonwealth is formed by Lithuania, it actually says Lithuanian-Polish Commonwealth. It's the same nation, but with a funny name. And they definitely have different ideas. I think the Polish ideas are better, but still cool little bit of flavor, I think. Britain is still a very offensive, disgusting mess to look at, but, you know, I'm sure things will clean up, right? Anatolia is still absolutely a mess, but it looks like Hungary has had a bit of a comeback, as well as Austria. Honestly, these borders over here don't look super crazy, except for maybe Riga. But then you take a look over in Iberia, things definitely look different. Brabant, Lubeck, Venice, Tuscany in the south, with their capital in Sevilla. So that's a different thing in this timeline. Naples has formed the two Sicilies, so we have Sicilian Egypt, of course. Ayutthaya is up here in China now with their capital up here, and that is because Siam has formed. I don't know who formed them, but yeah, Ayutthaya is now a different nation than Siam, which is weird. India is exactly what you would expect, with Bengal and Bahmanis, the big blobs, with Delhi up there in the north, but Malwa holding on. And those extra colonists for Congo and Kilwa are definitely helping them out with a bit of a power struggle here in the southern portions of Africa. I don't know where to begin talking about South America. We have La Plata, independent. La Plata in Brazil, a bunch of different nations have Brazilian colonies. And then you get up into Colombia and you see Haitian Colombia. And that's not even mentioning the fact that Inca has formed. So Inca is here, as well as every colonial nation you can think of. Haiti owns most of Colombia, all of the Caribbean, as well as a large portion of Florida. And it looks like Mexico has actually been beaten up by this Isleta Federation. We have Venetian Colombia with Venetian Mexico, with Venetian Colombia, and then Venetian Mexico. So, okay. We also have Venetian Mexico up here, so the nation's so nice they named it thrice. Canada competing with Huron, who has cut them in half. Huron also down here in the southeast because natives are overpowered. And as far as the Holy Roman Empire has gone, Austria is still the emperor, and we have religious peace. They passed 3 reforms, which is respectable, but sadly, probably nothing to go on after that. Though it does look like the Reformation was very weak overall, with Reform taking up a bit of the land over here, but Protestant was essentially snuffed out, and we don't have a Church of England because we didn't have an England. Inshallah, the steppes over here are Shia, and Austrian Constantinople is indeed the seat of a cardinal. Just take a look at the religious map mode of the Americas. It is an absolute mess. And China, for that matter. We've got different kinds of Buddhism, Confucianism. We've also got Sunni, and we've even got a little bit of Shinto up there in the north. And with 200 years left in the campaign, we have Venice in the #1 spot with under 1,000 developments still, followed by Austria, the Commonwealth, Tuscany. Bahmanis is actually #1 once they embrace some institutions, followed by France, formed by Orleans, and then the two Sicilies and Aragon. So it's anybody's game at this point, but I don't know. I think I'm probably going to be rooting for one of the Indian blobs to come out on top. Damn. And in this timeline, it looks like Canada is the one who is manifesting destiny, so to speak. We have the Huron Confederacy over here with Venetian Mexico to the south. Most of North America has been colonized. South America, meanwhile, is an absolute mess and maintains those disgusting borders that it had last time we looked about 80 years ago. Songhai is now the big daddy over here in West Africa, and the drama in the south continues, but it looks like Congo is currently beating Kilwa up in a war. You know, I gotta point it out whenever we see a beautiful Somalia on the map. Japan united, Korea taking over Manchuria, most of China, Daiviet doing very well, and now we have a Deccan. We have Rigan Russia and the Tuscan Ural, but for the most part, Europe in the east looks similar. Over in the west, things look a little bit similar to what it did before, but Brabant is looking pretty good up there. Looks like they might form the Netherlands, and we have a Sicilian Britain that is doing pretty good. The irony does not escape me that Sicilian Britain is actually in Ireland. But just look at Scotland, man. Like, what is that? What is that? Thanks, I hate it. Franconia has formed. I always like to see a nice formable tag. And with 120 years left, Venice is still in the #1 spot. Like I said, Deccan is probably going to end up finishing it out, but, you know, we'll see how things go. Canada, though, with a very respectable 1,300 development, with Korea and Austria right neck and neck with them. The Lithuanian-Polish Commonwealth in 6th place, with Tuscany and two Sicilies, 2 Italian tags, 3 Italian tags, actually, in the top 8, which is kind of nuts. I guess they were in a good spot to colonize when you consider these guys get bought out, these guys got popped out, these guys got popped out. So the Italians could just kind of diaspora all over and form a little bit of a colonial empire in that regard. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, a huge special thanks to Enlisted for supporting this video. If you guys are looking for a historically authentic World War II shooter, make sure you check out the link in the description and download Enlisted today. 1821, some things to be taken a look at, some things I'm pretty excited to talk about. The collapse of Muscovy let a few people, notably Transoxiana, take over a lot of the land over here in Siberia, giving Siberia a nice big hug. Japan doing pretty good, and then Korea dominating in China, probably putting them pretty high up in the Great Powers list, if I had to guess. We have Pink Vietnam surrounded by Majapahit, of all people. They're the one who decided to colonize the entirety of Indonesia, or at least a very large portion of it. Also, Deccan had a very, very solid game, and Bengal was pushed out of Bengal. I say pushed out because they do exist over here. I almost missed it. Majapahit even colonized Australia, so good on you guys. I actually thought that Congo was going to win this war, but in fact, Kilwa full annexed them. Okay, good on you, Kilwa. Songhai consolidated the entirety of Central Africa, pushing all the way up into the borders of Iberia, which definitely didn't change a whole lot, but as I said, it does look like Brabant decided to form the Netherlands. Some borders cleaned up in Germany, but honestly, it was a terrible mess. I bet if we let the game go maybe another 100 years, they'd clean up a bit, but I'm not so sure at this point. The Lithuanian-Polish Commonwealth dominated the area, absolutely just massive. I really like to see that, especially considering the fact that it even has the cosmetic name. Hungary is now Serbia, and Kosovo is Venice. South America consolidated a bit. La Plata ended up getting most of the colonies over in Brazil under their banner. But yeah, it's still pretty bad. We have East Frisian Brazil, Venetian Peru, Dutch Brazil, Dutch La Plata. We've got a bunch of random Danish provinces over here. Danish La Plata next to Danish Peru, next to Danish Brazil, with Danish Peru over here as well. Like, what is this? We have Haitian Colombia next to Haiti. And you're going to notice a pretty big change in North America. Venetian Mexico pushed all the way up into Texas, which is normal, but then Venetian Louisiana popped out, and Canada was split right down the middle between Canadian Cascadia and Canada proper. So I was rooting for them, but seems like those boys ate too much maple syrup, got a little chubby and lazy, and the Venetians outcompeted them. But you've got to admit, it's pretty hilarious to see that Haiti actually has colonized basically the entirety of the east coast of America. I like it. Religiously in Europe, it's almost exclusively Catholic, with the Netherlands is Reformed. I think that's about it. Sealy, a couple of people down in the south, but mostly Catholic. China actually looks remarkably similar to the way that it did last time we looked, but all the land down here converting to Hinduism with the Majapahit is pretty good. I like that. Coptic Ethiopia hanging out, still doing all right over here. Catholic Greece and Anatolia is based. Also, Catholic Egypt is pretty based as well, so yeah, we're winning. South America cleaned up quite a bit. It was an absolute mess before, but now it's mostly Catholic with a couple of Reformed places here and there. And North America is definitely a mess with basically everything just totemist or Protestant, and it is the wrong religion, but colonial nations are pretty bad about colonizing and changing the religions of the areas that are not already changed by default, so this is not super surprising, but it's pretty ugly. Look at the religious map mode of Australia. That's terrible. But then meanwhile over here, New Zealand's a bunch of animists. They worship the eagle like Borat. Now, Germanic cultures actually had a really solid run this time, considering the fact that it was pretty central to the nations that were getting deleted. It makes a lot of sense. Mostly Germany just kind of expanded outwards, but a couple of places in France as well as over in Iberia and the British Isles is pretty cool, as well as Balkan kind of racing into the heartlands of the Rus. Also, Austrian Constantinople is very funny. So how about those Italian cultures, though, expanding into Greece and Bulgaria, Anatolia, Egypt, southern Iberia? The British Isles are actually mostly Italian now. And there's even some Tuscans up here in Russia. That's cool. French culture is still here, but definitely in a very diminished capacity. London is Swedish, and it's actually a Swiss colony, so that's pretty good. The cultures of China are really funny as well. You've got Siamese, Korean, Bornean, Vietnamese, just a mix and mash of a bunch of stuff, but it's all owned by Korea now, so yeah, they're going to have to deal with a little bit of that cultural stuff. The New World is obviously a mess. We've got Italians all over the place with some Danes. We've even got some Frisians and some Flemish over here. You can't escape them. Of course, you guys all know about the Brazilian nation of Colombia, right? Haitian Colombia, Brazilian culture. Makes sense. We've got some Venetian culture over here, but the thing that I'm really excited about is that Canada Their primary culture is American, and they were very American. That is, of course, until they got dominated by the Venetians. We've also got plenty of American over here on the East Coast, so that's pretty good. I like that. The rest is just native for the most part. But now we got to take a look at the great powers and kind of see how things turned out with that one. So Venice actually managed to hold on. No real surprise considering the fact that they conquered most of North America. But how about that LPC coming in taking second place from Deccan? It looks like Deccan actually had a little bit of a downfall over in India, but you know, they tried. Meanwhile, Korea managed to skyrocket up into fourth place, but the pocket pick, the big one that I did not expect, and I don't think any of you guys probably expected, is Majapahit up there with almost 2,600 development, followed by Two Sicilies, Kilwa, aka Southern Africa, and then Austria rounding out the number 8 spot with economic hegemon fully stacked up for Venice. Truly terrifying. If you guys enjoyed this video, do make sure you let me know by leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel because there's plenty of content to come if you have not subscribed. Also, if you haven't already, consider supporting me on Patreon. You'll get early access to all the videos that come out on this channel. And if you want to join my Discord, my subreddit, or my Twitter, those things are also all linked in the description with my Patreon. If you have a suggestion of something you'd like to see, make sure you leave it in the comment down below because this one was actually very heavily requested. Either way, guys, I hope that you are all having an absolutely wonderful day. I really do. And until next time, stay chill.